Hey everyone, I'm Stephanie Mullen from RampantDesignTools.com, and today I'm going to talk all about Rampant Studio Mats Volume 2 and show you a few techniques that will get you up and running and allow you to get the most out of your animated mats in Premiere Pro. Now before I start, if you are not familiar with Rampant Studio Mats, head over to RampantStudioMats.com. Here you'll see Studio Mats Volume 2 and all the other amazing mat products available from Rampant. There are studio mats, glitch mats, hip-hop mats, mat transitions, and so many more. There are so many unique animated mats here for you to add to your video today. Alright, let's jump back over to Premiere and get started using these mats. And today I'm going to be showing you these techniques. And right here you'll see there's going to be a simple technique of adding a mat. I'm going to show you how to add a color effect, how to add some built-in effects, and then we're going to finish it off with doing a multi-part mat like you see right here. All of these techniques are really simple, and once you master the track mat, there's no stopping what you will create with your next video production. Alright, well let's get started building these and showing you how to use them. And the very first thing we need to do is we need to import our mats into Premiere. Well, how do we do that? Well, there's two ways. You can come up here and go File, Import this way, and the dialog box will pull up, and then you can just select all of your mats and import them. Or if you're like me, you can pull up your Finder and you can highlight your mat folder, and then you can drag it and drop it into your project. Either way you like, just get them into Premiere and then you're ready to start. Alright, now I want to open these mats up and I'm going to show you a few things before we start going. I'm going to get rid of this. And here, nope. Let me do that again. Open these up and move them up here so we can see them a little bigger, and I'm going to make them larger, and I'm going to open the list view. And I want to show you the list here, the names of the studio mats, and you'll see they're numbered 1. I believe there's 102 of them, so 1 to 102. And you will notice that there's a full one and then they come in parts. Well, what does that mean? Well, let me show you what the full one looks like. Double click that one. I'm going to open this one up. All right, you'll see here there are 9 squares. Well, if we go back to that list, you will see there are 9 parts. So what makes it really cool is now we've separated each of these mats out for you to use, so you can put multiple videos in each one of these mats in very little time at all. So that's really nice. So you will see they're really easy to see. So 102 has 9 parts. This one has 11 parts, all the way up to 3. And then, 3 and so forth and so forth. Now, there are a couple files in here that do not have parts, like you'll see here, 18, 19, and 18 and 19. And then there's 21, 22, 23. Well, what's going on here? Why don't they have parts? Well, let's double click on them and I'll show you why. There you go. It's one single mat. So there is only one part to this mat. Okay, so it shows you really fast where the single mats are, then where the mats are with the parts, and then of course you can always use the full mat here like this in your videos as well. You don't actually have to separate your videos out, and we're going to show you a couple different techniques using that. Alright, well let's get started here. We have this video clip, and I'm going to grab one of these mats that's just a single mat, and I'm going to go ahead and grab mat 18. All you do is highlight it, you're going to grab it, you're going to drag it and drop it on top of your video clip. And I'm just going to cinch this up so it matches. And the very first thing you'll notice is, well, this doesn't look like this. Let me double click this one over here. This doesn't look like this. What's going on? Well, these mats are 4K and I'm working in an HD timeline. So what you're seeing right here is you're seeing the mat at 4K size. To fix this, all you need to do is right click and say scale to frame size. And it's done. Now, if you don't want to do that, you can also come up here to the effect controls and you can scale it down to wherever you'd like. That's pretty nice about it being 4K size. But for now, we're going to keep it to scale to frame size so it matches our HD edit. That's the very first thing we do now. Now, very next thing we do is we have to get this video inside this mat. How do we do that? Well, we're going to come over here to the effects panel. We're going to type in the word track, T-R-A-C-K. The track mat key is what we're going to be using. We're going to drag that track mat key to our video layer. Do not stick this on your mat. It has to go on your video layer. And then with your video layer selected, you're going to come up to the effects controls and you're going to tell your track mat key where your mat is living. Our mat is living on layer 2, so we're going to click video layer 2 and voila, there's the video inside the mat. Super simple, super easy, and play that through and you're done. Alright, so literally put your mat on top, put a track mat on your video layer, and then tell in the effect controls where your mat is living or laying. And ours is on video layer 2. Perfect. Now I'm going to move this up a couple layers. I'm going to show you what's going to happen. And you're going to lose that, of course, you're going to lose that track mat. So let's go back. Tell our track mat is now on video layer 4. so it pops back in there. Now, you'll notice here that there is all this black space, okay? This is actually empty space. There's nothing here, so you can put anything you want back here. You can put a color mat, you can put another piece of video. And how do you do that? Well, let's go back to our project window, and we're gonna click down here on New Item. Let's first change the background color. So let's go Color Mat. We want this to be a 1920 color mat, say okay, and then we can choose any color that we want. If we want to take our eyedropper and pick like maybe this blue up here, or maybe we want a green, maybe the green from these trees, whatever we want to pick. Okay, so yes, okay. Name your color mat whatever you want. My color mat just went inside here. We're gonna put it out here. Thank you very much. And then we're gonna drag that color mat and we're just gonna stick it underneath our video, and I'm going to cinch it up, and there you go. So now we just filled in that blank space with a color. Simple, easy peasy. Put any color you want back there. Of course, you can leave it the black empty space, also works. I kind of like the way that looks. It kind of looks very cinematic to me, but put a color back there and you're good to go. And the same thing goes with a piece of video. I'm just going to grab this piece of video over here. So I'm going to delete this color mat, grab this so I can show you what happens, it looks like underneath, and there you go. So there's your piece of video underneath. There's so many different things you can do with these mats. It's really cool. All right, so let's do this one more time. I'm going to show you one more time before we continue on. So here's our video. I'm just going to make a copy of our video layer, and I'm going to come over here to Effect Controls, and I want to do this. Okay, so we have a blank piece of video layer. So we want to add a mat. So let's go to our studio mats. And let's pick a different one. Let's pick this 19. I think it goes the other direction. All right, so here's our mat. Perfect. So let's go ahead and grab 19, drag it on top, drop it down, cinch it up, right click, scale to frame size, back to our effects, type in track mat. If it's not showing, drag your track mat to your video footage, not your mat, and then go back to the effect controls and tell your track mat that your video's on video layer 3, and there you go. So now we have, it looks like this, and I think that this one is wrong. Let's fix that. So boom, and then the other way around, boom. Okay, super simple, super easy to add these mats to your video, and they make a really cool effect. All right, let's keep moving on. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add a color effect to this one. And again, we're gonna be using another mat. So let's go back to our mat list. And I'm going to be using this mat 16, and I want to show you, it looks like this as a full mat. All right, so you will see there's a piece here, there's a piece here, and a piece here. Now, we do have these mats separated for you. So part 1, part 2, part 3. I will show you part 1, the middle part there, and then part 2 is the top part, and then the bottom part is going to be on part 3. Okay, so you can put video in each of these layers if you'd like, or you can come over here and use the full mat, which is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to use this one right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab number 16, drag it to my timeline, drop it down, and I'm going to cinch it up so it matches my edit there. Okay, and I'm going to right click because these are 4K. I'm going to say scale to frame size. So now I have my mats. There they go. Okay, and what I want to do is I want to put this video inside here, but I want the video that's inside the white mat to be black and white. How do I do that? Well, first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a copy of this video. So I'm going to hold down Option and drag up. Okay, now this video underneath of my mat is the video that I'm going to change the color with. And I like to go over here. I like the built-in Lumetri colors, and I like to go to monochrome, and this monochrome punch is really nice. So there's the black and white video. Now we're going to put this black and white video inside the mat. How do we do that? It's the exact same way we just did. We go and type in track mat, T-R-A-C-K, drag our track mat to our video layer, and then go to our effect controls and tell our track mat that our mat is laying on video layer 5. And boom, there we go. So now if we rewind that, there's your color effect on top of your piece of colored video. Okay, super simple effect, and it's got a really cool look. I love that. Okay, now let's keep going on this train of thought here with the single mats, and let's add an effect here to this next clip. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be so let's grab our mat. And I'm going to be using mat 17, and it looks like this. Oh, let me start over. There we go. It looks like this. So again, this mat comes in 3 pieces. You could put a piece of video here, a piece of video here, and a piece of video here, but I'm going to use this as a solid mat. So let's go back here. Let's grab our 17, drag it down to our timeline, and then let's shrink it up. And I'm going to right click and change the frame scale to frame size so that it matches my HD edit. And now we have this mat coming across, just like that. And again, I'm going to leave this background video down here as the regular video, and so I'm going to make a copy so we can add some effects. So let's go ahead and make a copy. Now, whatever we do to this video is going to show up inside these white boxes. So let's go ahead, before we do anything, let's add a track mat first. So let's go grab our track mat, drag it to our video layer, go back to our effect controls, tell the track mat that it's living on layer 6, and the mat's now placed in the correct location. Now you can't see anything that's happening right here because we have this mat under. If I move this, whoop, there you go. So now you can see the video, right? So let's move that back. So now we're going to put effects on here. And what's really cool about the mats is that you can add any of these effects that are built into Premiere. And you can add a preset. So we have the Rampant Premiere Essentials here, and I can create an effect, and I can say, all right, there's some quick looks here. Maybe I want to do some a grain look here. Maybe I want to do this one. So let's grab that. You'll see the difference. See that? So now we just added an effect to our video layer that's being matted, and now we have something that looks like this. Okay, that's pretty cool. That's a neat way to just add some punch to your video. And you can add any effects that you want to this. So you can go, if I make a copy of all of these, just hold down Option, make a copy. Let's take off those effects that we just did, from that Rampant Premiere Essentials, and let's go back to the built-in effects that are inside Premiere themselves. So video effects, and let's just pick, like, maybe go to stylize. I don't know, you can pick any of these that work, and then let's try, I don't know, let's try posterize. Let's see what happens there. Drag that to your matted clip, and look at that. That's neat. So it just gives you a pretty cool effect. Maybe you wanted to put a title here. Maybe you want to do something, and then you can, of course, you can make this really crazy and do something like that. So now we have this really cool prominent effect, maybe some kind of psychedelic look. I don't know what you're going for, but that's really neat. So you put a cool title here. You could freeze it and put a title there. I mean, there's so many different things you could do here. It's awesome. All right, let's try another one. Let's just get crazy. Let's hold down Option, make another copy. I'm going to take off that posterize. And let's zoom out a little bit. Let's move down all of these layers. That's our next example. All right, so let's zoom back in. And let's have this. So like we're talking about all these different effects. Maybe you wanted to do something that's more on the glitchy side. Maybe you wanted to do like an RGB split. Okay, well, let's go ahead and I'm going to pull this over here. I'm going to make 3 copies of this. Whoops, we don't need that one. And right here are our layers that we have. Oops, I have the track mat on. Let's delete that first. Let's delete all these track mats. All right, and let's just add RGB splits to these. So let's go to the image control. We're going to grab the color balance RGB, and we're going to drag one of these color balances to each layer. And then I'm going to go change the color balance when it let my top layer be red. So let's change the green and the blue to 0. And then I'm going to change the second layer to red 0 and blue 0. And then the bottom one will be red 0, green 0. And then we want to change the blend modes of these to screen. Just go ahead and make a really quick effect here. And now we can move these around. Ooh, look at that. There's the blue channels. This looks like it's like 3-dimensional. I love that. And there we go. And then grab this blue one. Ooh, so now we have this really cool effect. How do we stick this inside of this mat right here? Well, all we're going to do is we're going to grab everything. We're going to right click and say nest. We're going to nest that whole effect. And then we're going to add a track mat to our nested sequence that we just created. So TRACK, track mat. And then, of course, tell our track mat where our mat is living, which is on layer 6. Layer 6. And boom. Now we've created this really cool RGB effect. I don't, maybe you want this for a title. I don't know what you would use this for, but it's kind of fun to just experiment and play. And there's so many things you can do. So let's watch that play through. Bloop. All right, so pretty cool. All right, everybody with me? So again, there are so many things. You can get so creative with this track mat technique. I love it. Let's keep moving on and do our final example, which is going to be putting all of these pieces of footage. So this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one, and this one inside of one mat. It's going to be so easy. And because Rampant has created these pieces, it's made it really nice. So let's go back to our mat list right here. And we're going to be using mat number 42. And because I already know that 42 is perfect for me and it comes in 6 pieces. Here's what the mat looks like as a whole mat. All right, so you'll see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Super simple. Now this time, instead of using a whole one, which you could use this whole mat, we're going to use the individual pieces. And it's part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what I like to do when I'm organizing my pieces is I like to bring one in. And I like to shrink it up because sometimes if I have video down here and I have a big edit, I don't want my mat pieces to interfere with my whatever else is happening, like override another piece of video. So I bring in one and I want to scale to frame size first. So then I'm going to make a copy. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go back to my mats. I'm going to grab part 2. I'm going to hold down Option so I can replace part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5, and part 6. And again, the reason why I'm doing the Option replace is because I don't want to have all of these layers interrupting. If I had an entire edit here, I don't want it to be interrupting that edit. So it keeps me nice and organized. So now if you look here, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I can click on these and make sure that they're in the right order that I want. Maybe you want it to be, maybe I want this to be number 1. So I'm going to pull that up to number 1. And then I can fix number 2. And then I can do, where's that corner piece? Number 3. So I can put these in the order that I want. And then I can say 4. And then I can say 5. And then of course that'll be 6. Okay, so there's the order that I want them to be. And if I put these all together, you will see they all come together and make that one piece of mat. All right. So that's the very first thing. Let's get our mats organized in our timeline before we start doing any footage, which we've done. All right, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to separate my mats. I'm going to give myself a little bit more space here. So I'm going to bring this audio layer down so we can see some more layers. And I'm also going to move this up a little bit. Now I want to separate these layers out. So I'm going to separate number 6. I'm going to bring it all the way to the top. I want to put number 2. So I want to leave a space. And I'm going to put number 3. And then I'm going to have to move these up again. So let's move them up again. And let's move them up one more time. So I have 2 pieces so I have 2 layers in between each of these mats. That's going to keep me a little organized, and I'll be able to figure out what pieces I want to put in. All right. So this to me is probably the hardest part, and it's not very difficult. It's very simple, but organize yourself at the beginning. That way you can put your pieces of footage in there really, really fast. Super simple. All right, so we have all of our pieces ready. Now let's go over here. Let's grab all of our pieces of video that we want to add in here. I'm going to zoom them over here. All right, we're going to start here. We're going to say, okay, where do we want this piece to go? Well, I want this to be a number 1. So I'm going to bring it up here, and there's the piece that I want. Now, there's going to be some things we're going to do differently here. First, I'm going to shrink. I'm going to take my cut tool, and I'm just going to cut this so I don't have this extra. Now, what we're going to be doing is I want to place this video inside this mat. So I'm going to actually move it. Go to my effect controls. Let's move it over some. Maybe I want to shrink it down a little bit and move it up so that it fits inside there. Okay. Now, because I have done a movement, and you can watch this playthrough to make sure that your video stays inside the mat. But what I've done here, because I've altered the position and scale of this video clip, I cannot add a track mat to this directly. I have to separate all this motion, all this position, scale, and changes, and separate it from the track mat. So all I need to do is go right click, and I need to say nest. I'm going to say OK. And now I'm going to add my track mat to my nested sequence instead of my video footage. So add my track mat. Now I tell my track mat that my mat is on layer 17. And my video will pop in there automatically. Okay. Now, if I want to adjust this, like say I wanted to zoom in a little more, I need to double click my nested sequence, go to my actual footage, and then I can adjust it here and move it around and go back to here and kind of flip back and forth to see where it goes. Okay. So you make sure you nest your sequence if you change the position or scale effects. All right, so let's go ahead and add piece number 2. So here's my number 2 footage up here, and we're gonna put in maybe this van driving. So let's grab it, drag it over. I'm gonna bring my cut tool. I'm gonna cut the extra off. And here's where the box is. So I definitely wanna scale that down just a little bit and move it up there. And I like to do this before I do the nested sequence. It kind of gets it in position to where we want to go. So that looks pretty good. Maybe even scale it down just a little more and move it up some. And then again, I can play this through. I can rewind this to make sure that that box right there is covering. I don't have anything missing, right? So the whole thing's there. Now we can right click, let's nest it. And then we're going to add our track matte key. And we're going to tell our track matte that our matte is on video layer 4. And boom. All right, super simple. All right, let's keep moving on. Let's do piece number 3, which is right here. And we're going to put in, let's see what we got here. Oh, I like her. So let's grab her. Let's drag her over here. And again, bring up my cut tool, cut off the excess. Goodbye. Here's my video layer. Of course, I want to, let's just shrink the video layer down just a little bit and move it up. And move the X over like that. Maybe shrink it down. I can't shrink it down much more because you'll see that the frame line's right here. So let's try that. So let's right click, let's nest, and let's add our track matte key, and then tell our matte zone layer 11, and she pops in there, and it's perfect. Lovely. All right, let's keep moving on. Let's do this one. This is our box number 4. And we have, let's take these girls in the ocean. Again, bring up my cut tool. And I'm going to do this first because I'm going to override that other piece of clip down there. So cut tool, cut the excess off, bring this back up here. And again, we need to shrink this down and move it over and move it down. And then of course, we're going to nest it because we changed the scale and position. So nest that. Add our track matte to this one and tell it that our track matte is living on layer 8. Boom. And you'll see that this one's over a little farther than I wanted. So let's double click it. Let's move the X back over so we have all 4 of those girls in our frame. And there we go. Super simple. All right, let's keep moving on. Let's do the big box here in the middle. And we're going to go ahead and grab this video clip right here. So let's drag it down. Let's cut off the extra. And then let's move it around so it fits inside this piece of video clip. So I'm just going to shrink it down just a little bit here so I can see. So let's shrink it down, move it down, and move it over so that heart's in the middle of the picture. And let's make sure that so you'll see here, if you see that I moved the playhead right here, you'll see that my video clip is not reaching the top of my matte. So right now this would be a different, it would show that this would be all black because I'd have a matte line here. So let's go ahead and scale that back up. Looks pretty good like that. Now let's right click, make a nest, not a subsequence, make a nest. Say OK, add our track matte to our nested sequence, come to our effect controls, tell our track matte that our matte is laying on video layer 5, and boom. And you'll see that this is over a little bit, maybe we want that centered, so let's double click it, and let's move that X over just a little bit. And let's move it over again. There we go, it's perfectly centered, and let's go ahead and do the very last clip on here. So pull it down, grab the cut tool, erase the extra footage, and then we want this piece of this minivan to be in this bottom corner, so we're definitely going to shrink this down and move it over and pull it down. And on this one, I probably want this to be a little longer, so I'm going to shrink this up. I'm going to change the duration of my clip here and show this, and it probably needs to come down just a little more. And let's right click, nest it, say OK, add our track matte, and then tell our track matte that our matte is on video layer 2, and boom, there we go. So now we have our matte. All right, so now we have this entire piece right here All 6 pieces, super easy, super fast, and we have this really cool video montage that you can use in your next video project. I love it. Now again, if you wanted to put a color back here, a color background, you can do that. You can change this from being empty to having a color back there. So what you would want to do is I'm going to have to move all of these up a couple layers, at least one. Now what happens when that happens? You're going to lose all of your track mats. So quickly you can go back through and put your track mats back on. It's really simple. Boom, 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 and boom. I missed one, number 3. Oh, video 13. Oops, there we go. Super easy. Now we can go back to our project. Let's create a color mat again. Say okay, I want this one, let's just make it white this time. And let's grab our color mat and drag it underneath, and then we'll change the color of the background in one easy swoop. All right, so now we have something that looks like this that comes on, and it looks beautiful, and it took us no time at all. I love the way that looks. And that's that. Now you know how to get the most out of your Studio Mats Volume 2. It really is so simple to add these mats and create a one-of-a-kind look in no time at all. I hope you have enjoyed today's tutorial. Once again, this is Stephanie Mullen with RampantDesignTools.com. Thanks for watching.